All right. We are live on the Facebook. So, Criss, we're going to continue these conversations. Yes.
Yes, we are.
We're going to continue having these conversations because there's really not enough conversations about them. Is it showing live on Facebook? Did I push all the right buttons?
I think
Hmm.
so.
Okay. So, hopefully it's working. So basically, we have talked about, yeah, it is. We had a conversation the other day about when we knew, like, we hit a point in our life when we knew we can't continue as we have been. And you sent me a text and said, "Hey, you want to talk about this?" And I thought it was spot on. Redefining productivity and success, in this time, letting go of like the external validation and sort of measuring ourselves by certain things, and what all that looks like now. So, what we've stepped away from. I have to tell you, the reason I immediately was like, yes, let's talk about this, is this actually happened not this Monday, but the previous Monday. So about 2 weeks ago, Derek and I, we went for a little walk in the morning. Yeah. And we're sitting at the table having breakfast. And he did what we have done a million times. And he's like, "So, what's the offer this week that we're focused on? And what's the sales goal?" And, he's doing all this. And I like put down my little fork and knife and I was like, "I don't do that anymore." And his whole face, it's like, this man is a saint. He's so patient and he's so grounded and he's so everything. But you could see the like, yeah, yeah, okay, that's right. And he's like, "So what?" But it was like, it was not, he didn't want that answer that day, right? Most days it's like, "Oh yeah, we're just flowing with it." But that day it was like he was missing old Monique, I think.
Mm.
You know,
Hmm.
because let's be honest, when you start your week and you have your sales goals, and you know what you're promoting, and then you review it on a Friday, we do, and you come to the end of a month, and like, numbers are so simple, right? Data is so clear. But when it's like, well, we're going to see how my wife feels this week and what's her energy level, and like, you know what I mean? It's not quite the same.
Yes. Well, at least you have Derek there, right? That is your business partner to hold you there, right? But there are so many women out there who don't. And so I'm glad you're saying this because in this case, this is your business and you pretty much have someone who is holding you accountable, but you're like, yeah, not today.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when you don't have that person there, right? This is, I believe, when things start to just fall through the cracks,
Think.
or you start questioning your worth, you start questioning everything that you're doing because the way you were doing things for the first part of your life does not feel good anymore, right?
It
Your body, your mind, everything is asking you to do something, to do things different, to do life different, your career, your business, because it's not just for entrepreneurs, right? It's your career shift. But it's so scary, right? So we've known what success looks like. We've been on that trajectory. We've celebrated, but all of a sudden, that definition of success no longer matches how you feel.
No,
And that's what I want to talk about today.
I like that.
So, yes, let's do that because there's so many things I want to say, but I'm like, let me pause because that right there, I've had so many different conversations recently, right? And that seems to be the common thread. I'm in my corporate career. I no longer feel valued. I no longer feel that I'm appreciated and all these things. And it could simply be because you don't want to live and do all the things that you did before. So maybe those things were happening in the past, but we just said this before jumping on. You knew how to deal with it. You just dealt with it. But you've reached a point in your life where you don't want to deal with it anymore because now it's just causing you stress, anxiety, and mental health issues. And now you know that that is more important than this previous definition of success that you had.
Bingo. It's so true. So what we could handle, we don't want to handle anymore. And you're right. This is why women quit their jobs, quit their careers, step out of their business, get a divorce, is because the things they used to put up with, they realize they're not going to put up with anymore. And it's hard in the mix of all this, because here's the problem: when this time of life hits you, you don't even know what you're getting hit by, right? It's like, it's almost like invisible punches. You don't even know what's going on. You don't know what's happening. And it's difficult, like you said, to pause within yourself, have any perspective of yourself, to pause and go, why am I feeling this way? What do I want to change? And, I saw a reel recently, and this lady's like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, make changes in your marriage. I'm not saying you shouldn't make changes in your career. I'm just saying, maybe before you blow up your whole life, that you have the ability to look at it and look at what you're saying. What are you redefining? It's not that you can't make these changes and choices, but if you can slow down a bit and have someone to process it with, you won't blow things up or approach it in a way where then you're going to have more to clean up, because the whole point is that we're trying not to exhaust ourselves any more than we already are. Yeah.
Yeah.
By
And I
the
don't know
way,
about you.
my dad just showed up, so let me tell my husband to go out and talk to him, because
Okay.
I've locked him out of the house.
And there are so many people out there where success, like we said, meant one thing. And I don't know about you or those of you that are out there listening, but to me, this other part of my life, this other phase that I'm entering, I want it to feel good. I want it, I don't want to be tired. I want to feel rested. I want to feel happy. I want to feel joy. I just want to feel more aligned than ever before. And I'm doing that.
Yep.
And it requires you to pivot, and it requires you to adapt, and it requires you to do all these things and be willing to do it.
Oh yeah, that's it. Because it's easy to think the problem is out there, like there have been situations where I'm like, oh, like they shouldn't ask that of me, or they don't understand. But really, I have to be willing to change. I have to be willing to
Mhm.
change. And it's so true. Like, I'm sure you look back, but I look back, what I was doing 10 years ago, it was insane. I had two babies in 12 months, got pregnant with Nina. The boys were little. We were traveling full time. I was running masterminds and calls and 8 podcast interviews a month, and like hundreds of clients. And I was up every single day for years at 3 a.m. Well, if I wasn't feeding a baby, I was, coordinating things, time zones, because I was working with Australia and the US. So I was working both ends of the world, right? And it's like, wow, I was like superwoman. And at the time, I didn't think a thing about it. I did not think a thing about it. But let me tell you, I do not want to do that now. No, thank you.
And that's the other part, right? For me, I mean, you come from an entrepreneur background where what you just described is what you did that first part of your life. For me, I come from a corporate background where there's so much structure, and this is what you do, and this is how you do it, and don't step out of your boundaries, and don't step out of line, and you do this way. I remember trying to create, and I've always been really good about establishing really good connection and communication, especially with like the executives that I worked closely with, that I supported. We worked together, and I loved that communication that we had, and they've always trusted me.
Yeah.
Till this day, some of them still reach out to me. But I remember in building that relationship, my manager said, nope, you can't do that. You're in HR, they're in operations, you can't be sharing all this stuff. And that was like years ago, right? And I went against that because I'm being asked to create this partnership. Me and that director worked hand in hand. I supported him in human resources and he ran an operation. And we literally had to be like this. So I went out of I didn't listen and I continued that. And that created a beautiful relationship. But that's where you end up in a point in your life where it's like, it's so rigid, it's so structured. I have been told you cannot speak to this person, you can't do this, by attorneys, by so many things that it handcuffed me, and it created issues because people, that's not what they knew about me. I'm a person that they trusted, that they connected with. So when they began to handcuff you, that's different. So over time, that felt so out of alignment with me, because now these structures are going against who I am as an
Oh,
individual. And it no longer mattered to me. Like the status, the moving up no longer mattered to me. I just wanted to have good relationships with people. And that was difficult to have when you're in a structured environment where at times they're telling you what you can and cannot say. And that right there was something I stepped away from. But in that stepping away, in that pivot, it also required me to just redefine what success looks like now that I have the freedom to do whatever it is I desire to do. And in your case, Monique, I'm sure when you just completely redefined, how you operated, that made your business run differently.
oh, big, big. And, it's interesting because when these shifts started happening internally, of course, everything externally shifts. It's just how it goes, right? There's a big domino effect. And it was fascinating. I was baffled by myself, to be honest, because I have always been a person who is setting goals and setting, agendas and well, for 15 years in the business, it was like I could have told you what we were going to generate in revenue for the consulting, for the publishing, for everything, private clients, masterminds. And that had always felt exciting. I love putting something right there and then aiming, focusing on it and aiming for it and getting it. And I had always got what I aimed for. So I thought that's who I was. I thought that's who I always would be. I mean, I have poster boards where I would be like mapping out the month, like, like a general going to war. I had strategies and tactics and all the things, timelines. And all of a sudden, I didn't care about it at all. And it was like, who is this? Who is this person? It's not even you if you don't care about this. I was in this like, holy cow, like looking at myself going, I don't even know who I am. I don't know who this person is. And of course, within that, yeah, you redefine success. And I had more time than I've ever had just to kind of sit and be with it. And this is also when I got to the point of like, oh, yeah. So does it mean something about me if I don't set goals and I don't hit them and I don't make X amount of money and I don't have this much in the bank account and I'm not doing these things? does that define me? Like, what defines me? And oh, that was a whole like master class, right? That was like a whole thing because they're all connected. So like you had been the breadwinner, you know, like, so are you
Yeah.
still important? Are you still valuable? Are you still, you know, what's the scoop? Do you still matter, or are you no longer, what are you no longer when you step out of your role and your title and your income and your paycheck, right?
Oh my gosh. What a good point. Because that is something that I struggled with initially. Big time. Big time. I knew what I was stepping away from. The secure income, quote unquote secure, because you can be
Right.
let go at any time.
Right.
But the secure income, I was a salaried employee. I knew exactly the amount that was coming in every 2 weeks, every month to the penny. I knew
Oh
it.
yeah.
And to walk away from that, not knowing the exact amount that is going to come in every 2 weeks, every month, that that was a big change. Now, that's how I had seen myself, right? That's who I was. That's what I brought into the family. And all of a sudden, that part is gone. And the numbers are unstable, let's say. I knew I was walking into that. My husband knew. He's never questioned a single thing, but the person who questioned it was myself. All of a sudden, I felt like I was letting my family down.
Oh yeah.
I felt like I wasn't contributing enough. And in the meantime, my husband's like, "What do you mean? You've never had the opportunity to spend this much time with the family. That in itself is worth more than anything else." And I'm so grateful for him because so many of the steps I've taken in life, I probably wouldn't have done it if he wasn't backing me up. It's like, go for it. We're going to figure it out. It's going to work. It's going to work. And it has worked. But that initial point of questioning myself, questioning my worth, questioning if I've been successful. And he would say, like, but look at everything you've done, Criss. Look at everything you're doing. And somehow there were moments where I did not see that success because it didn't match what I knew.
Let's talk about that, the gap. Okay. Because this is why people don't step out of a job or
Mhm.
start a business or step out of a role or stop offering an offer, like, because it creates a gap. Okay. So I remember this particular day, I told Derek, today I'm really feeling the gap of who I used to be, what I used to achieve, what I used to make, and the person I am now. And the feeling that it gave me when I would hit those points, and this is the thing, it's like this journey is, there's a lot of these, right? It's not exactly like steady Eddie, at least not for me. Um, when when that would hit me, what would happen next is I would say, my best days are behind me. And I had never like taken the time to really think about like, I'm not having any more kids. But then this is the downward spiral that would hit me, that my best
Mhm.
days are behind me. I can't have any more kids. I'm not going to be in that role in a business. I, what is my future? What does the future look like? And how could the future be better than what I just came out of? Because look at who I was. Look what I accomplished. Look what we did together. Look at the babies. And it just felt like I could feel the barrenness staring me in the face. Like it was visceral. I could feel it, like you're shriveling up. That's it. And that is the level that I think why so many women, 45 to 55 fall into depression, suicidal thoughts. It's the highest rate of suicide from 45 to 55. because there's this, oh shit, is there anything, is there any hope going forward, or is it all downhill from here, you know?
Yeah. And from the outside looking in, there are people that are watching you and amazed at having the guts to do what you desire. And yet you still question it. And this is what I want to say in this too, is that we've talked about this before. That can be lonely. You look around, you don't think that anyone's there. You don't feel like people are going to understand you. This is the reason why we've created this space and inviting 9 women to come into expansion, because that is exactly what you're going to get when you step into this space. This is now where you get to redesign that version of you, the current version of you, right? Where it's going to match everything that you currently believe. That's going to look nothing like that previous version. And you may find yourself in that gap right now where your heart, your soul, I mean, it is screaming for you to pivot and you're scared shitless. And you're questioning your worth because you have to contribute to the household because there's all these things, but that fear is getting in the way, because what is waiting for you is bigger and greater than what you have today. You just have to believe it. You just have to trust, like blindly trust. And I think that is the hardest part, but trust that things are going to unfold in a way that is going to match that current version of you.
Definitely. And this is the thing, is every single physical change, hormonal change, brain change, emotional change, new definitions, new desires, it absolutely brings us to the edge of ourself. And that's the point.
Yeah.
I told Derek this morning, what I realize this is really about is it's this shift from, this is what I achieved through my will, through my effort, through my knowledge, through my own desire and sheer get up and go-ness. And this gap and this transition and this bridge, it's shifting into, it's a faith walk. You have to have exactly what you just said, Criss. You have to have blind faith because you can't see it yet.
No.
And you're not going to be shown it. That's the whole point, is the person you become, taking one step at a time, knowing and trusting and believing. And here's the thing, it's like what you said, what's on the other side, it will be perfectly aligned with you, and it's a different feeling. This is the life you get. This is who you get to be. This is how you get to give something meaningful to the world. But it's not through your effort. It's through your alignment. It's through your joy. It's through your trust in something bigger than yourself. It is a very miraculous divine season that I'm going to tell you, like you said, this is why we're doing it. I know for a fact women are not meant to go through this alone. It is rough navigating this alone. And I'm not just saying that because I'm selling them. I'm telling you the honest God truth. Criss and I had each other. If we wouldn't have had each other, and this isn't a space where you have to explain yourself and justify yourself. We already know you're amazing. We already know where you're going is more amazing. You don't have to, we're not putting some plan and agenda on you. And then like, hey, you got to squeeze yourself into this. This is about, we know that this middle ground is incredibly important. This is the make or break moment, right? This is the make or break season. And there's something good for you. We want to walk with you through it because we have discussed every possible solution, right? Practically, relationships, business, money. You get all the options. Which one fits you? Which one feels best when you hear it, when you like try it on? That's what we're here to do, is just to go, let's make sure everything lines up, because If you take on something that isn't lined up, it's like, why bother, right? Why?
And here's the other thing I want to point out with all of that you just said is that a lot of times you walk into spaces and there's this format. This is how we're going to go through it. This is what we're going to do. And this is how it's going to work. But not everybody's created the same. We know that. And there's no one way to do things. And the beautiful part of being a part of expansion is that it's going to expand you, but in your way, because we're going to tap into who you are. We're going to show you your potential that maybe you haven't even realized it's there. We're going to allow you to see what areas of your life are out of alignment so you can right off the bat identify this is the space in my life where I'm out of alignment. This is all the potential that I have. Now I want to match that version of me that I am working towards, and we're going to blend it all together. And that's the reason why it's only available for 9 women, because it's going to be customized to you. While we're going to share a lot of information and we'll share more as we go, but this is a space where you get to be you. There's no judgment. There's no one way of doing it. This is creating success and embodying that version of you that you so desire, but you're finding yourself in this gap full of fear, full of uncertainty, full of just questioning and everything. This is the room you have to be in.
I agree. And this is the thing that we know to be true, and you know to be true if you're watching this, is that if you try to reach back and anchor onto something from the past, it will not work. That is why you have to trust and you have to remember who you are. And Criss and I, the tools that we're going to be using and anchoring you back into your human design and your life path number and all this, we've done this for each other for 2 years. Hey, Monique, go look at your chart again. Check this out. We've overlapped our charts. That's how we came up with this program. Criss has her strengths and she's going to be operating in her strengths. I have mine. I'm going to be operating in mine. We know where we can make a full loop and we bring this together and it's the best for you. And same thing with you. It's like, you don't have to be anyone. You don't actually have to try to be who you are. You just have to remember it. You have to embrace it. You get to celebrate it. And I'm telling you, it's going to be night and day. When you come in, you might have, physical things going on, emotional things, mental things. Practically, you're not sure how to move forward. And you look back and it's like, oh, and you look forward and there's nothing. You're going to be able to see the silver linings. You're going to be able to see your path forward. You're going to know what it looks like to take one step every day and how to, like Criss said, align with who you are. It's a hell of a time to fight against who you are. I don't recommend it. And that's what we're here to walk you through.
And there's 4 days left on the pre-sale, right, Monique?
That's right. Might as well get the pre-sale because it's the best pricing. I mean, if you know that and I just want to say this, okay? Criss and I have talked about this. None of us want to admit that we need help through this. I mean, I think I'm 30, right? I didn't want to admit that I can't form a sentence. And I used to know, like I used to be able to remember what shirt I wore when I met Derek for the first time. And then I'll have a conversation. If I don't write it down, I forgot what they said. I don't know who that, like, I don't want to admit to that. I don't want to admit that this isn't working anymore and who I used to be, I can't be anymore. I don't want to admit any of this. But here's the thing, is all of these generations before us, our grandmas, they didn't even talk about this shit. They walked it out alone and they just kept up with everything that was on their plate. We are a generation, we don't have to do that. We don't have to pretend nothing's happening. We don't have to pretend it's all the same. We don't have to pretend that we can just keep on trucking. Because while you can fight that and force it, it's not ideal. There's something better than that. And this isn't about, it's not about embarrassing anyone. It's not about being ashamed of any part of it. This is what I told Derek this morning. You know what this season of life is it puts us in such a vulnerable position, and vulnerability can feel like a compromised position. And most of us wouldn't pick that.
Yeah.
it's going to be a tender space. I can tell you that. This isn't about like, no, it's where you can unpack this and let go. This is a space where you can put down everything that you're carrying.
Yes. And this is a time to step in
Yes,
for the best price.
we'd love to
4
have
days
you.
left.
We'll do your assessment. We'll have great conversations and we'll go through it step by step. All right, Criss. We'll continue this conversation soon.
We will. We will. There's more to come.
More
Bye.
to come. Bye, everyone.